24th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Terrion Arnold, defensive back, Alabama.
That was the pick last night as it went down, and you heard it here on 97.1 The Ticket, and Detroit exploded. We asked people today, now they had to give up a third-round pick, right? And that's, you know, the fun of having Brad Holmes here is watching him do work in rounds other than the first round. And we'll get to that pick in a second, but that came at a cost. It came at a cost in that, you know, it's not, they gave up what is going to be a chance at a player in the third round, and we'll see who's on the board, and maybe we'll find out that there was nobody on the board that we particularly would be interested in anyway in the third round, but we don't know what that cost is exactly yet. But it's okay. Like they've started to shift. You can see them shifting into win now mode here a little bit. But we asked people on Twitter, and you got another hour plus to vote. Did you love it? Did you like it? Do you not like it? Or do you hate it? And we've had over 1,400 votes so far. Right now, love it, 74.3% of the vote.
That's a big portion.
Like it, 23.7% of the vote. Don't like it, 1.4% of the vote. Hate it, 0.6% of the vote.
I'm surprised there's a 0.6. No, honestly, I mean, what's the reason to not be approving of this? Is it why? Because they give up a third round pick to get the best corner possibly available in the draft. I mean, Quinyon Mitchell was great too. I mean, split hairs between the two. I don't care which one they get. I honestly thought that Terrion Arnold would not be there. I thought he was going to be the first corner off the board. The fact that he was there at 24, and we're all looking at this like, are they going to please make a move? How do you make a move? We talked about it with with the Dolphins and their pick, and is this where the Lions trade? And thinking it could be Arnold, could be Mitchell at that point, and then Philadelphia takes Mitchell. I don't know why anybody would be upset. It's the cost of doing business, and they didn't give up a second-round pick. They gave up a third-round pick. And that player, how high would you have moved up to get that player going into the draft?
Well, I wouldn't have think 5 spots would get it done.
I wouldn't either. Yeah.
So, he said last night, I'm a star. Okay. Well, let's talk about what he might be. If he is an average corner in the NFL and is on the field against San Francisco, the Lions are better in the NFC title game. If he's an average corner in the NFL, if he's an above average corner in the NFL, I feel much better about the Lions winning at San Francisco.
Yeah.
If he is a star in the NFL, wow.
We're celebrating a parade.
I mean, then that's a team that, because the mistakes in the secondary in the second half of that game are ones that are kind of haunting, but we know what it was. I mean, there were guys on the field because of injuries, and they did their best, and I'm not mad at them. But if they did get a star, the secondary, the whole team is better. If they got a slightly above average player, the secondary is better. Like if you think about this secondary with the additions of Carlton Davis, Amik Robertson, and Terrion Arnold at the corner spot, this is a better group of corners than they had last year at any time. And Emmanuel Mosley maybe.
I was just going to say, and hopefully Mosley can stay healthy and you could see something out of him, which would be great because he had high hopes of him coming into last year that he was going to be a contributor on this team. What Brad Holmes did, I think there's a new approach to Brad Holmes when it comes to the draft, and this is something we probably should have learned because he's done it in every draft. Patience and pounce. He was patient last night. Mm-hmm. Let it fall to you, let it fall to you, let it fall to you until it comes within range, and then pounce. And he did. And he got his guy. It was patient and then pounced when they got Jamison Williams, and patience and pounce when it came to other players in the draft and, moving up in draft capital to get other guys that he liked. That's what he does. Now, they have one pick going into today, but that could change. I don't know if it will, but it could. They could find a way to get more picks and trading back and getting more picks, or maybe trading a player and getting more picks. But the one pick they had last night, to me, it's a grand slam. They got the best player at the position, the most need, and he's a guy. I mean, there's no question he's a guy.
So we predicted last week here on the program that they would trade up, and one of the reasons why was because I do believe they believe in best player available. And if you sit there at 29, that best player available, you're at the mercy of how the board falls. you control your own destiny if you decide you want to trade up and get the best player available. So you didn't want a linebacker or a quarterback to be the best player available, and they turned out they wouldn't have been, but especially a quarterback. But at 29, rather than just sitting there and going BPA, they were able to maneuver and go BPA and get a player that is useful. It was a rare marriage, but they weren't going to leave it up to fate. They were going to control their own destiny.
And I suppose that those people, was it a 0.6% that don't like it?
Yeah, hate it.
Hate it?
Yeah, 2% total don't like it and hate it combined.
Right. So out of those 2% of the people, maybe I was a little quick to just chastise them, but maybe the reasoning is because they don't see much of a difference between, say, Terrion Arnold and Cooper DeJean, and if you had stayed at 29 and not given up the third-round pick, you could still get Cooper DeJean.
If Cooper DeJean was your favorite player in this draft, you wouldn't love this move.
That would be it.
If Kool-Aid McKinstry was a player you like more than Terrion Arnold, you wouldn't like this move. If you really wanted, and Kang, I want to bring you in, Johnny Newton, but you still like the move, you wanted Johnny Newton bad for a variety of reasons, and hell, he's still on the board. I can't imagine being there 29 picks into the second round, but Kang, your overall thoughts on the move?
I love it. I mean, Johnny Newton, I still love Johnny Newton. I like Johnny Newton at 29 and never expected Terrion Arnold to be in the 20s, to be honest with you. So with knowing what we know now, Gator, you're correct. What Brad Holmes did was he waited until he saw an opening, and then he jumped on that opening. Like, it was a wait and see. Everyone knew, by all accounts, this was going to be an offensive-heavy draft. So he waits till all these offensive players go, right? And then the defensive players start kind of trickling in a little bit, and then you see where they're going. You see how this draft is going, and you wait. All right, is it 16? Is it 17? Is it 20? Brad Holmes saw the opening and went for it. I love the move. I love the pick. I don't think it's too much to give up, because if you're going by a draft value chart, guys, he might have slightly overpaid, but that's for the pick at 24. If you believe Terrion Arnold's a top 15 player, then you didn't overpay. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, you basically traded up to, say, 15.
Exactly.
That's the way I look at it.
So, and the thing about this is, like, any degree of disappointment, and I have a slight degree of disappointment. It has nothing to do with the trade or the player. It has everything to do with, I like watching Brad Cook in rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now they don't have a third rounder and they don't have a fourth rounder, so I don't get to see what I think is some of his true strengths. But then again, he determined that this player is worth it, and so my faith in him overrides the disappointment of getting to watch him cook. Now, these middle round picks, you can't do this every year, given what's happened with contracts, because you need affordable alternatives to your star players, and they're obviously having to pay their star players. So, I don't envision them doing this every year, but they saw the opportunity, they pounced. They're trying to win a Super Bowl, and they think this player is going to help him